What's up, Shady Sports? I'm here with another player interview with quarterback Daniel Smith from the West Texas Warbirds. Daniel, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing great. Man, let's get started. Last week you played the Albany Empire and you completely owned them from the start to the finish. That celebration you did after the touchdown, that was too cold. So talk about that whole game, man. That was insane.
Yeah, no, excuse me. Well, thank you. I really appreciate that. Those are really kind words. For me, I just have so much respect for the Albany organization. Just, as a fan of arena football, watching them and all the success they've had. So just being able to, play against them was definitely an honor for sure. But, that night was, so many guys uh, for the Warbirds, did amazing, and it was a great team effort. A lot of guys had amazing highlights, and we had some great additions as well that, you know, definitely helped us kind of get over that hump and secure that first win for sure. And that celebration, it was really out of respect for Antonio Brown. Um, I'm a big Steelers fan for sure, so obviously he's done great things for the Steelers, and so it was more so out of respect, most definitely.
Definitely. This year has been kind of crazy. You guys obviously lost the first three. You just got your first win. Obviously you had two tough games. How did you manage to bounce back from that? With honestly, I'll be honest with you, right? One of the games you played, the broadcast quality wasn't the best. So when you're going back to watch film, how do you watch film on those games?
Yeah, so we have we have something, VidSwap that we could use to go back and watch film. So us as players and coaches, we definitely have access to quality film to be able to prepare for our next opponent. And just with the beginning hurdles of maybe the broadcast, whatever the case may be, the good news is that those were patched up, and our owner Zach is doing a phenomenal job. Um, you know, just making expanding the Warbird brand and doing the best that he can for not only us, the players, but especially the community. So again, like I said, that broadcasting issue, whatever the case may be, was patched up, and that's a thing of the past. And in terms of like a rough start, for me, I'm a big man of faith, so I believe that today's the day the Lord has made, including those days that aren't so good, you know. And so for me, it was really confusing because on paper it was the roughest start that I've had in my career. But I just continue to have faith that God brought me this far for a reason, And for me, it was really big for my family and my people, my circle. Spent a lot of time praying and talking to God and just asking that He didn't leave me out there to dry on that field. And so, for me, I'm just really grateful that for that experience. I'm grateful for my teammates. I'm grateful for my owner and his family. I'm grateful for the fans that were able to, I'm grateful that I was able to be a part of an experience that night for, the fans and many people involved on and off the field. So, that was a really big night for the team. But at the end of the day, we're coming off a bye week, and tomorrow we get back to work and we have a great San Antonio Gunslinger team, that is off to a very hot start. So, all that being said, it's getting ready time to get back to work.
Yes, sir. You play with so many great receivers in your career. Obviously, Carlos down in San Diego. And now you have a receiver, Jalen Childress, who literally looks like an NFL receiver. What's it like playing with him?
Yeah, starting with Carlos Thompson, that's my guy most definitely. Coming into West Texas, I was leaving Sioux City Bandits at the time, and so it was kind of a rough patch. I almost, on my way home from Sioux City, I almost stopped playing football. But praise God that I continued, and I met Carlos Thompson along with a lot of great teammates that year. And Carlos Thompson is a very special talent, and it was noticed from day one. As a quarterback, you're blessed to be able to throw to a lot of special guys, a lot of athletic guys, and um, you know Carlos Thompson is he's the truth, and I'm so happy for his success. And they brought in a guy like Nate Davis, who's over there, who can get him the ball, and and when you put the ball around him, he makes spectacular plays, most definitely. And Jalen Childress, man, he's just a humble assassin, and I'm just so grateful and so thankful to see him have a season that he's having so far, and well earned, well deserved. He's a silent leader, and he comes in, he does his 1/8, and and he does it very well. So very grateful for him.
Sure. So, in where did you attend high school, and where did you grow up?
Yes,
Before
sir. Yes, sir. So I grew up in Peoria, Arizona. Um, I spent a lot of time on the brink of in Peoria, Glendale. That's in Phoenix, roughly around like 15 minutes away from the Cardinal Stadium. Where they just had the Super Bowl. So I grew up there, and I went to elementary school called Country Meadows. It's near and dear to my heart. I'm very happy I was able to go there. But my high school career really started uh, on an eighth grade night or eighth grade day coming home from school. I randomly went to one of my good friend Mason's house, and his dad offered for me to go to a football game. So I called on my mom. She's like, yeah, sure, whatever. The game ended up being at the Cardinal Stadium, and it was a high school championship game. And it was the heavy favorites, a team by the name of Centennial Coyotes, and against this team called from the east side, Chaparral Firebirds. And no one really knew who they were, but at the end of the day, leaving that game, I was really amazed. From Centennial, just the swagger they had, the confidence, the handshakes, everything. Just it was such a surreal experience that even though they might have lost that game, and shout out to Chaparral, they ended up going on to win 3 state championships after that. But just made me want to go to Centennial. So the looking back, you can always connect the dots. 2020, at the time, for whatever reason, my family was moving. So my mom was like, you can go to whatever high school you want. And I just got done seeing that. So I'm like, Mom, I want to go to Centennial. And when I went there, it was really the first time I really bet on myself, because my people around me, they wanted me to go to a local high school, Kellis. And but they were telling me, man, don't go to Centennial. They're a powerhouse. I know family members who go there, and they're political. And I'm like, okay, sure. So praise God, I went there, and it was a little bumpy start. I remember my first game, we actually Chaparral, freshman. It was real emotional. We felt like we were going hard for our senior guys. This time, third. My grandparents, it was a Wednesday night. Freshman football was on Wednesday, so my grandparents had church as well, and so they were only able to be to the first half, and I didn't get in. And it was a close game, whatever the case. So they left, but in the third quarter, my coach was like, "Look, all right, Daniel, go ahead." So he gave me an opportunity. Praise God, I was able to throw 3 touchdowns. We won the game. Kind of set the pace for the rest of the season. And we ended up having like the first freshman undefeated team. Sophomore year, played JV. Blessings to be able to have, we put up in like 7 games the most points in JV history. Our defense was also phenomenal. Only had like 28 points scored on in 7 games. It was wild. Junior year, I wasn't supposed to play, but nevertheless, the first game of my junior year, the starting quarterback, senior, he was supposed to come in and have a great season. Ended up breaking his collarbone, and so I kind of got thrown in the fire, and we lost that game. But after that, we went off and won 5 in a row and things. But I got hurt later in that season, and they started another quarterback by the name of Isaac Steele. Mind you, we had the first string quarterback hurt. I was hurt. So, we're looking for guys, and Isaac Steele really came in, and he stepped up, and he was able to make plays and, led our team, for a run in the playoffs. And, but that led me to my senior year in high school. And, I was supposed to be the senior year quarterback, whatever the case may be, but things went differently. Our coaches decided to have all of our athletes on the field at once. And, so although it was heartbreaking for me, they ended up switching my position to receiver. And you know, at first it was really tough. I remember being in the game and just mind out of it, just in my feelings really. But you know, once I, you know, got a game or two and got out of my feelings and really bought in, um, you know, the coaches were absolutely right. Having all of our athletes on the field at one time helped us go 12-2 and win a state championship. So, um, you know, I'm just so grateful for that. And playing receiver, you know, I ended up getting recruited at that point at my senior year. You know, playing receiver as a wide receiver, and I had a few offers, but I always wanted to play quarterback. And so, you know, I'm like, if I'm going to go ahead and pay for school a little bit, then at least I'm going to, you know, go to JUCO and get the opportunity to at least get like a D1 offer or something. So, by the grace of God, I got an opportunity to go to Glendale Community College. And in terms of my football career, that was a really, I would consider it my toughest time, my worst time in football. It was tough, but you know, we made it through. And uh, I ended up getting um, kicked off the team for just being a knucklehead. You know, social media stuff, just posting videos and just being a knucklehead. But it wasn't, you know, it wasn't in my character to necessarily get kicked off. You know, it was just really one video that it just looked bad, you know. But you know, a lot of people were really shocked because you know, it was just this thing, you know. Nevertheless, all you can do is laugh at it now and just be grateful for, you know, the experience and the growth from events in your life. But you know, that ended up being one of the biggest blessings of my football career, because from there I had nowhere to go, and all I had to offer was just putting in hard work and having faith in God. You know, I'm at a dead end. You know, I dropped out of junior college, and I know I want to play football, but I don't know how. So for all these years, my brother has been living in Texas, and he's been wanting me to go out to Texas. And I've been like, wait, let me see what football has to offer. And you know, here I was. So I went over to San Antonio, and the mission was, you know, I was going to have a trainer. I was going to have a place to work out. One of the trainers was supposed to be, you know, Jordan Shipley and McCoy, you know, two Texas legends. And I'm a Texas fan, so I was all game. You know, unfortunately at the time, I guess, you know, one of them just had a child. One of them was playing at the time. The gym got shut down, you know, so I just found myself there waking up at 5:30, 6 in the morning, working construction, and, you know, making my, you know, I have to eat gluten-free. I guess it's a blessing in disguise from God, but you know, I have celiac. So, but I was making my gluten-free lunch or whatever the case may be, and just thinking like, this is not what it was supposed to be. And you know, I would have a workout in, you know, after I got off from work, you know, in the gym, in my brother's garage, maybe run a mile or whatever the case may be, just trying to find a way. And I got a text from one of my coaches from Centennial. Well, not necessarily from Centennial, but from my Centennial days. When I was in Centennial, when I was at Centennial in high school, I played for a club 7-on-7 team. It was a really good club team, one of the best at the time. And one of the coaches, Coach Ken, who's offensive coordinator, he ended up reaching out to me. Hey, we have a semi-pro game, and you know, we need a quarterback. Can you play? So I specifically remember we were in a Whataburger parking lot. My brother was eating a sandwich, whatever the case. So I'm opening up my gluten-free. I get to see that text. I hop down out of his truck. I remember there was a little ditch or whatever. I call my mom, let her know what happened. To this day, my family calls it the evacuation mission, if you will. The next day, my grandmother and my mom came out, and they drove to Texas, got me. I didn't play in that game the following day. Just, you know, I was on the road, whatever. Played that next season, and it was a lot of growing pains, but I'm very thankful. Coach Ken would spend a lot of time with me, you know, on the phone, watching film, and it really accelerated my growth. And we were able to make a run, and not a lot of teams wanted to, you know, play us at the time. And I ended up playing another season as semi-pro, And that year, just the experience compounded, and the team that I was on ended up going to the championship game, and we lost to a good, very good Stampede team, and which I'm very grateful for that loss. Losses are never losses unless you turn them into lessons. And at that time, after we lost the championship game, I used my first season from the semi-pro film and a connection from Coach Lee, who was and is a coach for Centennial Coyotes. I can never say thank you enough to him, because he was the connection who established me to Miles College, where I went to college. He went to Tuskegee back in the day, Tuskegee University, with my, at the time, offensive coordinator, Aaron James, who was the quarterback. His center was Coach Ellis, one of the greatest offensive line coaches in the world right now. They're really good college friends and whatever the case. And he was like, look, I have this guy, sent him my semi-pro film, and Coach James gave me an opportunity. So I go into camp, and Miles, fresh off of a championship loss, and plus things going on in my personal life, but, it wouldn't be life without us having things in our personal life, I started off 6th string quarterback at Miles College. And, I just remember those 4 a.m. waking up and just, seeing one guy after another going in and like walkthroughs and things like, and I'm just like, man, just, wanting to be that guy, if you will. And praise God, through that summer, we had a few scrimmages and I was able to make plays, and I was able to rise the ranks and start. And, it was really confusing time at the time. We started off 0-5. I praise God, I was able to make plays, and we were able to play against some, West Alabama and, Morehouse. We played in the Chicago Classic, and I'm so grateful for that, because we played at the Chicago Bears Stadium, and my grandfather, called him Papa, rest in peace, and my grandmother, my sister, and that's it. They were in the stadium. We got to share that experience. I was able to had my longest rushing touchdown in the Chicago Bears Stadium in front of them, and 2 passing touchdowns. But at that time, we were 0-3, and they had about a minute or so left, and Morehouse did a great job at just dinking and dunking, and then they threw a Hail Mary, and they sure enough caught it. So we lost that one, but at least we were able to put on a show for that. It was a true Chicago Classic. But we started off slow, but God bless, our team was able to come around. In our conference, we were able to go like 5-1 down the stretch. We had an opportunity, to play at home for the conference championship. We played a legendary school, Tuskegee, which was a really big game for our coaching staff, just because they all played and coached at Tuskegee. And for us, for the first time in school history, to play at home for SISC championship. And boy, oh boy, it was a rough start. It was 24-7 with like 3 minutes and 7 something to go. Drop back. I was able to throw a 59-yard touchdown pass. Few plays later, we were able to get a scoop and score by our outside linebacker, freshman at the time, Smiley. He scores, and we're back in it. And we ended up getting a chance with a 4-minute drill at the end of the game, and Coach James drew it up, and we were able to execute, and we won, and ended up taking that momentum and won the conference championship at home. And that's one of my greatest memories in football too, was that night for sure. And our team all came back the following year, and so we were a heavy favorite, and we handled business, and we went like 9-3 or something along those lines, made it to the playoffs and stuff. So that's kind of my high school and college days.
Man, that's an incredible story. And so I kind of want to focus on one thing. So you mentioned, obviously, when you were at junior college, you had an incident with a video. And so obviously right now the big news with a video is an NBA player by the name of Ja Morant. He had another video come out today. What is your advice to people, including myself, that have questionable videos of themselves out there on the internet, and how you can kind of move on and learn from those things?
Yeah. I would definitely say that, not everything that you do, needs to be out there. Especially in this world where everything is out there. I think that, keeping your business to yourself is kind of a bit more valuable, given the fact that everyone does show their day-to-day lives. At the time, during my incident, it was kind of, it wasn't what it was today in terms of, but it was stuff like John Morant and stuff like that. And just as athletes in general, I mean, it's just back to the basics at the end of the day. We're held to a higher standard, so we just have to just act accordingly, and I'm looking back, I'm sure John Morant, including myself, it's just like easy fixes like that never needed to be out there, but John Morant's an incredible athlete and an incredible guy as well. So, and it's unfortunate that little videos or something, guys, people can paint the picture, on who that person is as a person.
For sure. And honestly, I think it's important to move on and learn. And so you have a ton of confidence in yourself. I can tell that you believe in yourself, and you're never going to give up on who you are as a person, which is huge. So the West Texas Warbirds, obviously the big news is they signed quarterback Mitch Kidd. And right now you're competing for, the starting spot every single practice. And I know, like, you seem like a competitor. So how do you manage competing but also being a good teammate in that quarterback room?
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, I just focus on, trying to be the best that I can be. I try to focus on what I can control, and that's how I approach practice. That's how I, watch film. That's how I, get advice from people around me, from veterans around me, from coaches around me, and try to continue to apply to my game. During this rough start in the beginning, I just kept telling my people in my corner that, all I can do is every day that God blesses me with opportunity is just to continue to keep working and just know that, again, this is the day that he made. So Mitch, he's actually my roommate, and he seems like a really cool guy. We've got to talk a little bit, and, he's made plays in practice and, for sure. But also I know that Coach Tate, no matter what the position group, he's going to constantly bring in people. And, in theory, is going to continue to push whoever his guys are. And then if his guys can't keep up, someone will, So for me, all I can do is continue to trust God and trust that no matter what happens, that he's in control, at least in my life. And so that means no matter what Coach Tate decides, I respect his decision. But for me, it would be more so, okay, God, let me see what you're doing, because I know he gives me enough strength for today and not for tomorrow. So when I start thinking about tomorrow and the next day, then I forget about the fact that Jeremiah tells us he has a plan for us. And if he has a plan, then let me sit back and live. Like, that's our biggest blessing, our biggest gift, is to live and let go and let God. So that's what I'm trying to focus on, not just in football, but in my everyday life. And so when it comes to competing and stuff, I mean, that's just life. You just always got to try and be better, and as long as God has me in this position, that's what I'm going to continue to do.
So you talk a lot about God, and I found it kind of interesting because you work construction for a little bit. You mentioned, and construction is all about brick by brick, right? And
Yes,
I was
sir.
watching a previous interview of you, and you said, I can't control necessarily how I play, but I can control my attitude, and that's what's in the controllable. And so that's kind of incredible to me, that you have that type of attitude. A lot of guys, tend to lash out or not be able to, mentally have that strength to keep going. So, I mean, where did this all start? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, how are you so calm?
Um, how am I so calm? Well, for me, my peace is God. Like, if you come to a place where God allows all things, good and bad, um, when you have faith in that, man, no matter what life throws at you, it doesn't matter. Like, what can you do? If God is for you, then who can be against you? You know what I mean? So I was really raised on God being the cornerstone. And my grandmother did a great job at raising my mom and my uncle. And my grandmother and my papa were a great example. And I believe how you raise a child, later in life, they'll go back to those ways. And so, although I'm not perfect, I'm far from, and I definitely make mistakes. But when it comes to situations in life and stuff, that's what keeps me calm. That's what keeps me calm.
Man, we gotta get you teaching yoga out here, man. I mean, yeah, you're dropping
Oh
knowledge.
yeah, I mean yoga is good for stretching, but nah, it's not yoga, brother.
Man, you're dropping knowledge left and right. It's awesome. But no, I mean, you last year you played with the Sioux Falls Storm in the indoor football league, and I mean, you had a really good time up there. I mean, do you view yourself as an indoor quarterback or an arena quarterback? And what was that experience like playing up in Sioux Falls?
Yeah, so Sioux Falls is a five-star organization in every sense of the word, and I'm very grateful for that experience. Coach Riggs, Hall of Fame Riggs, and his coaching staff, and plus, his son, Peyton Riggs, Coach Riggs, both, he's also the OC now in Sioux Falls. Just a lot of great football minds over there, and I had a great experience, and I learned a lot from Coach Riggs and being able to be in those rooms and those film rooms with him, and just being there on an everyday, running that offense. And um, you know, I believe that my experience, there, it could have been different if when I did get an opportunity, if my timing on some things might have been a little off, or might have forced something when ball should have been thrown away, and a few things could have altered my course. But at the end of the day, it's the day the Lord has made, and all things happen for my good. And I definitely, as arena fan, I do notice it's a big difference in terms of the style of play from the NAL and the IFL, or IFL, CIF, and those leagues have similar styles, whereas NAL is, I would consider, true like arena style play. I would consider IFL, those type, is more so jamming outdoor football into indoor football with the zone reads and the play action with your crossing routes and stuff. Whereas NAL is really drop back and just getting the ball out really, getting the ball out fast, quick decisions. Me personally, I really enjoy the style of play in the NAL. Although, I believe I can run the read option and I can, make plays. And a lot of IFL ball, it tends to be when in the crunch time scramble, make a play. And although I really enjoy. There's nothing like dropping back, hitting your back step, and letting it fly and striking the band.
For sure. No, I mean
On a consistent.
they're both great styles of football, and they offer unique aspects. So I was on your Facebook today, and I noticed, you seem to be really into fashion, and I noticed, on your wrist you have a Rolex. So I mean, like, are you planning to go into fashion eventually, or what did that look like for you?
I appreciate that, brother. I just like nice things, as I'm sure we all do. I wouldn't necessarily say I'm going to go into fashion, although I definitely plan on having my wardrobe full of nice clothes. By the grace of God, most definitely.
Yes, sir, for sure. Um, I guess my biggest question for you is, what's your future goals looking like in the next 5 years? I know with all these other leagues, CFL, USFL, XFL, what are you trying to go for?
Yes, sir. So my 5-year plan personally, outside of football, I day trade in the financial markets. And so I'm lucky enough to trade for a prop firm, FTMO. And so for me, in 5 years, my goal is to trade a 7-figure account with them, and hopefully build a resume and trade for private investors and things along those lines. For me, I know that everybody has a day with football, and I might get into coaching or something along those lines. I definitely enjoy that. I've had experiences, and it's really cool to like help someone, like give them information and watch them do it and apply it and be successful. Sometimes I've had moments, especially coaching little kids, like seeing them do it. It's almost more fun than me actually doing it. Like I get so excited, but uh, nevertheless, but definitely with trading, just taking that to another atmosphere. But with football, if I'm continuing to play football, if God's blessed me with the outdoor game, then we're going to take our talents to the outdoor game. If I'm still playing indoors, like realistically, 5 years from now, NAL still, then I definitely would expect myself to be in the talks with guys like, legends like Tommy Grady and Dan I don't want to butcher his last name, but um, uh, nevertheless, like Mason Espinosa and things along those lines. I think if I do continue to play this, by the grace of God, just continuing to stack days, that maybe sooner than that I could be in that conversation. But all I can do is just capitalize on the opportunities that I'm given, and whatever comes with that will come.
For sure. I mean, that's so awesome to hear that you have that mindset and that tunnel vision that you want to keep, getting better, but also, as someone who wants to get into trading, do you have any advice on how to, do well in that space?
Yeah, so trading is like 15% knowing trading, and it's really a battle against yourself. The biggest thing that I would recommend with trading is number one, you got to be ready to take a loss, be able to handle a loss, and turn it into a lesson. You also need to not put expectations on trades, because the more expectations you put on a trade, that's how your feelings get hurt when things don't end up as you expected. And lastly, be very critical on your risk management, because that's what's going to keep you afloat.
For sure. Um, so you guys, as you head into the next game for San Antonio, personally, what are your goals for the rest of the season? I know last game you played perfectly. You had 4 touchdowns, no turnovers. How do you plan to keep that going?
Yeah, so I'm very lucky to be coached by a great coaching staff, and great coaches on both sides of the ball, great football minds, and especially who are all, not just great football minds, but around it 24/7, but also great arena football minds who really know this game. And Coach Tate, legendary coach. I mean, you see him back to back, constant, getting coach of the week, and it's for a reason. And it's just all the hard work that he puts in, the dedication, the passion. Um, it goes to our team, but people are seeing it as well. So um, for me, in terms of game plan, what I plan to do is do my best to execute each play, one play at a time, and trust my coaches, trust the game plan, know the game plan, and you know, um, just continue to get closer with the new guys who are coming in and the guys who are already here, and just continue to stack days.
For sure, that's a that's really good to hear. You wanna try to take what you have, but also build upon it. So Daniel, I mean, this has been an honor for me to be able to speak to you. As you're very well respected around this game. A lot of people know you, and no, I mean, I wish you the best of luck. And my last question for you is, where can people buy your jersey, or follow you on social media, and do you have a clothing brand?
Yes, sir. And definitely, I really appreciate you bringing me on here, and all the kind words. And you know, the Shady Sports Network is definitely really awesome, and I'm so excited to see the growth with as things continue. For me, I don't necessarily have an Instagram or Twitter. I'm thinking about starting it. Just for me, roughly about 2016ish is I stopped having it, and I kind of just really was taking pride in having God as my agent. And so, and I believe it's done me pretty well. But um, so I might end up getting an Instagram or Twitter here soon. But I have a Snapchat, but really Facebook. my Facebook right now. I don't have a clothing brand, although don't be surprised if one does come here within the next, 12 to 24 months, maybe sooner. Most
But yeah,
definitely.
definitely. No, so, I wish you the best of luck for your season, man. Like, for you guys watching, man, this guy's the definition of what a dog is. He's gonna go out there, he's gonna compete, he's gonna fight. And man, he's about to put the leagues on notice. What he did down there in Albany, he kind of quieted him down. So he's coming for all the smoke and more. So best of luck and keep doing
Thank
your
you,
thing.
sir. I appreciate it. Thank
Yes,
you. I
sir.
really appreciate it. Thank you for having me on.
No problem. So that was Daniel Smith. I mean, what a guy, man. Like, I mean, I've done many of these, but I have to say, man, like that's a real solid dude. He's going places. With his attitude and his leadership, he reminds me a lot of Jalen Hurts, or I would say Jalen Hurts, or Malik Willis. How calm they are and how they want to go to the next level. So best of luck to him, and we hope that him and his team do well. I know they will. West Texas is a good organization. They're building something, brick by brick. So I think my biggest takeaway from that is, let you control where you want to go. You're your own agent, but you also have to decide like what do you want for yourself, and how are you going to make that possible. So that was a really important message, and honestly, like I really benefited from that. Hearing that, where I'm at in my life, like that was really, really important. So, shout out to him, and I appreciate y'all taking the time here to watch this.